I would like to mention one certification name if you can recall that halal certification was there.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
In halal certification, it is not that only what processes I am adopting, what material I am using, it is not. What is the source of the material, whether it is a halal compliant or not. So that is also taken care by us. One raw material has gone, very haywire. The pricing has gone haywire, right from 70 rupees per kg, it went up to some 395 rupees per kg. Just imagine the kind of implication on the P&L.
I've seen ESG being implemented in Europe and US or America's market very aggressively and very strictly.
How we will come to know this? Only by doing the audit, either by the company owned representative or by the third party. So that is how we are ensuring that it is not that ESG is getting followed by us only, it is getting followed by the others as well. I think humans are very smart, rather I would say. So they only give away those jobs to that extent where their jobs are secured.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Procurement Diaries by ChemAnalyst. Today we have a very special guest who has more than 3 decades of experience in supply chain and procurement. He has worked with companies like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Emami, Dabur, GSK. He has seen from procurement to vendor management to supply chain transformation. He has seen it all. He has done it all, and he has mentored more than 2,000 professionals all along the way. So let's welcome Mr. Sudhanshu Kumar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming. Right. So Sudhanshu, first I would like to start with very basic thing that, how did you landed in supply chain space? Let me give you a more context here. When I speak with a lot of people, they say that, we did not choose the profession, it happened for us, or the profession chose us. So is it the same for you, or did you choose it specifically that, no, this is what I want to do?
No, I mean, honestly speaking, I have not. See, when I started my career and when I was, in college and, in the process of finalizing the specialization, I was having two choices, either to go with the marketing or in the materials management. I was very sure about it that I don't want to get into the marketing role. Though I was a second position holder in entrance examination, and generally toppers takes the marketing management. Instead of that, I took materials management course, and from there this journey has started.
Why not marketing, if I may ask?
I think that flair was not with me. I was not very comfortable with the kind of initial struggle I have seen people were doing at that point in time, right? Mm-hmm. So I was not very much comfortable with that.
Okay, all right. So you took material management and then you landed into procurement and supply chain space. And then since then you have been into same space, right?
Yeah. So I started with materials management course of 2 years diploma in materials management from IERT Allahabad. And after that, I pursued 2 years PG diploma in supply chain management from IMT Ghaziabad.
Okay.
During my career journey, and my career started way back in April '94 with Dabur India Limited. I started with in Saibabad. That point in time, it was head office cum plant, the Saibabad location, and then they have other plants as well. In Baddi, they have 3 plants. Dabur Gram, and then some plants in Kolkata, etc.
Right, now they've expanded a lot.
They have further expanded, in Jammu and other locations as well.
Right, nice. So while we were talking earlier, you mentioned that you managed plant supply chains in remote locations like Channo and Nabha, which I believe are pretty interior locations within Punjab, right? So how did the on-ground experience in rural manufacturing hubs shape your approach to large-scale FMCG logistics?
See, I personally believe that action happens at the plants only. If real action you want to see, it happens in the plant locations. Be it Nabha or Channo, or for that matter, when I was working with Coca-Cola in Bhubaneswar, the plant was in Khurda. That was again a very remote location. within Dabur also, I moved to Baddi. It was again a very remote location. Nobody wants to go to that location. Uh, Lot of challenges we used to face at that point in time: getting the manpower, getting the supplies. Vendors are not willing to send the materials, or they are charging some premium for sending the materials on these locations. So a lot of challenges are there, but managing those challenges and the kind of learning you go through during the process is basically helping you to become a great professional. I would say the basic learning comes from the ground only.
So tell me something that, while you were running these plants in Nabha and, Channo, was it difficult to find quality talent and retaining them?
Yeah, at times it is very difficult, and this challenges even it exists in modern time as well. Uh, People, those who are working, generally will find people who are based out of nearby places only. That is one challenge. People from distant location or more qualified people, they don't prefer to come to the remote locations for such kind of assignments.
So how did you overcome this challenge?
One thing was very clear in my head, that if I want to grow in any field, I have to be mobile. If I have to keep moving from one place to another, irrespective of whether location, whether it's a culture is different or the food preferences are different, or any such kind of thing. If I want a growth in my career, I have to move around, and probably this has paid to me in the long run. I started with a very supervisor junior officer grade, and I reached to the head of logistics, supply chain management, logistics, purchase, and ERP in my career of about 29 plus years. So these learnings helps me a lot to grow as a human being and as a professional as well.
This is you talking about yourself. What about when you were recruiting for your team? Was how did you make sure that people are literally joining you or they're sticking with you?
Uh, if I have to see, I see this question in a different perspective. The manpower, the talent is basically having two, three categories. The very star performers, they generally come, perform, and they exit. There is a medium level performers, so the bell curve you might be aware of. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
around 70% people, those fall in that. You have to select the people from that lot only, because these are the set of people who are going to stay with you for a longer period, and definitely remaining 10% you don't want to retain. So finding people from these 70% becomes easier as compared to if you are looking for 10% or 20% the top player, then you'll not be able to retain them for a longer period. But if you want to retain them for the longer period, you need to find the people who are falling between 20 to 80% range. That's how I see it.
Okay. In your work, you argue that 100% automated approach is rarely efficient. So why is the augmented middle growth the sweet spot for modern procurement?
See, any kind of technology cannot replace human beings. I am very clear on this. Uh, it started when when I started my career, we were doing the manual work. From there, I transitioned to Excel, and from there, I transitioned to SAP. Now it is a AI era. Now we are talking about Gentech AI. So all these transitions are keep happening, but people are still working. Only thing is that we need to develop or build the skill set to manage the work in along with the new technology. That is what my understanding is.
So now, AI is the buzzword. Every conference I go to or wherever I, go and meet people in the supply chain space, everybody I hear is, they're talking about AI, right? AI in the procurement, AI in supply chain. While you can find thousands of, vendors through AI, right? But it can't judge the factory floor morale or a partnership mindset, right?
True.
So how do we ensure that human intuition isn't lost in an era of big data?
It is never going to happen, to be very honest with you. AI can support you with the data. I mean, they can sort the data, they can present the data the way you want to see it. and they might give you this, suggest potential answers as well. But the human judgment, that has to happen through the manually by the people only. Only thing, these all technologies are, facilitating us in taking the prompt decisions, correct decisions, but decisions has to be taken by the people, number one. Number two, uh, the interpersonal relationship plays a very important role in supply chain management. A lot of, instances are there in my career where I was able to reduce the lead time from say 15 days to 7 days, or 21 days to 10 days, or 45 days to 20 days. A lot of incidents has happened. If I would have gone through by the data calculation or mechanism, probably I won't be able to reduce the timelines. But it is because we are making a very healthy relationship, and the kind of focus we are having now in supply chain is that we are more focusing on the supplier relationship management. It is now we have transitioned from transactional, like only focusing on the reducing the cost, to we have migrated to supplier relationship management, and that is basically paying dividend to us in for driving the win-win situation for both the parties.
And I think it's more important to have a good relationship with your supplier, especially under current circumstances. Wherein you have so many geopolitical issues like Ukraine Russia war, or after that this Iran US and Israel conflict that's going on. So all of this, I think, it makes more important that we have good relations, because at the end of the day supply is going to be limited, and any people who have good relations, only they're going to get it.
Very true, very true.
Right.
I just want to add what you said. Probably when I started, it was a vendor. Gradually, it migrated to supplier.
Right.
Now they have become the partners.
Partner.
We treat them, call them, and respect them as a partner, because they are partnering us right from since the inception of the product until the final delivery of the product. Wherever, whenever we are facing any challenges or struggle, it is always the supplier who comes out to save us from any kind of emergencies, or any kind of when we are not able to fix any problem.
Right.
It is the only the supplier who are basically partnering with us, are giving us the valuable suggestions, which helps us into driving the entire supply chain in a very smooth manner. So they are very important for any organization, for any supply chain per se, I would say.
In your 29 years of a career, can you give us at least one example wherein a vendor or a partner stepped up in a crisis situation and it really helped you out?
Many times, many times. See, what happens is during and marketing and sales team is also having the pressure. So I'm not going to blame them, but they keep coming to us for immediate changes. The either the graphics has to be changed or anything, and or for some point in time when the government of India has made some changes compulsory, and that has to happen in the complete say a cycle of 2 months, or 45 days or 3 months time, whatever the timelines government set. Uh, on those point in times, the vendors are the only set of people who are helping us. Imagine the 160 odd SKUs catering to 8 to 10 locations, and ensuring the arrangement of all the SKUs, placing all the SKUs in all the locations is not a very easy task.
Absolutely.
And right from developing, so when I talk about the development, it is right from artwork stage to cylinder making, to getting the approvals, various approvals, which is talks about the regulatory, packaging development, R&D, marketing, brands, all these approvals you have to take from different set of people. The only the person who helps us to come out of this crisis situation is the vendor, and they stood by us always for sailing through with these kind of situations.
I remember that when I believe the government changed GST rates, and they wanted the manufacturers to pass on the benefits, right? So, but they gave very little time to the manufacturers to actually make those changes in the pricing, and all the lot has gone out into the distributors, right? So it was a very challenging situation, and I believe this is a very classic example of I'm not sure if you're aware, but of Bira beer, right?
I know.
Wherein they lost their entire business out of it just because there was one printing change that they had to do in their packaging. So I think it becomes very, very important that the vendor or this partner steps up under such a situation and helps the company. And I think that happens only when you have good relation with them.
True. And only those set of partners or vendors are having long-lasting relationships who are supporting us during the crisis.
Right.
But it works other way around as well. When they are into the crisis situation, we also have to come out from our comfort zone and helping them so that they will be able to, because see, they also face challenges, they also face problems. So at that point in time, being a person from supply chain side, especially from procurement side, it becomes our responsibility to stay behind them so that they will sail through their problems, and also by ensuring that there should not be any shortfall of any materials in my end as well.
Sure.
So that is something which is very important. But yeah, vendors, I mean, it is, I would say, it is a kind of give and take relationship.
Right.
So only, I mean, now gone are, I mean, those days have gone where we only, start shouting on the suppliers, and no, they are equally demanding also.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that is how it works in current scenario.
So how important is supplier diversity?
When we say supplier diversity in terms of two or more suppliers, or
multiple
from
suppliers,
or suppliers from the geography,
multiple
different
suppliers,
geographies,
basically reducing the risk.
Yeah, so this is always a bigger risk when you are dealing with one supplier. And honestly speaking, I have come across in many times we have faced a situation where we have completely on the mercy of the supplier only. And they have all rights to do the arm twisting and all. I am using very slang words, sorry to say, but this is what the kind of experience I had in past. But yeah, vendor diversification plays a very important role, and that helps organization to ensure supply continuity and to mitigate the risk of any kind of supply disruption during your.
So what is the ideal strategy that an organization should have in terms of supplier diversity?
Depends. It depends organization to organization. If supposingly you are based in all the four sides of the India, then probably you might be having a different strategy. If your all manufacturing setups are located in north, then probably you will be having a different supply chain strategy. Generally, we prefer to have suppliers which are in the vicinity only, 200, 300, 400 kilometers away from us. So that my reliability, turnaround time, the TAT, all these things could be reduced as much as possible. But yes, for certain items, like if you have to get the spices, so you have to bank on the Kerala vendors only.
Right.
So few specific items, yes, geography doesn't play a very important role, but otherwise, while thinking of the diversity, you have to be very sure that your turnaround time should not be much higher.
Okay. Now, with the dual blockade in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, right? Brent crude has surged past about $100, right? And if I'm not wrong, today I believe it was about $114 something, right? Is this the peak you expect, or do you think that it will go further from here?
No, I don't think that it has nothing to do with peak. Already it has reached to the maximum level. And from here, I see that the things will start getting, the pressure on the pricing will come down significantly. Because the way things are moving as of now, it is not going to be. But yeah, I would not like to take the name of some of the leaders, but they are very unpredictable. So either of us don't know what is going to happen tomorrow.
Sure.
But in current scenario, what I can gauge if I have to work as a procurement manager, probably I have to strengthen my back-end supply chain. But I don't see that I need to do a overstocking of any of the product.
Okay.
just for the fear of the 20% which is at stake in in the Strait of Hormuz. So that is perfectly fine. We can manage that 20% supplies from other sources, other locations. Might be by paying slightly higher prices, but yeah, I don't see any challenge as far as uh, you know. India's business scenario is concerned. I don't see much challenges on this. Prices are not going to be further grow from here onwards.
So do you expect them to come down from 114?
That is
what it
what, see, 120, 125 is going to be the maximum. After
Okay.
that, I believe that it is going to come down.
Okay.
If not in the normal range, somewhere around between 80, 85, 90 kind of.
Okay.
Somewhere between 70 to 90, you can say.
Okay. Now, as of April 2026, right, we have seen insurers cancel war risk cover for the key maritime routes, right? Especially this, the Strait of Hormuz and Jebel Ali route, these areas. Is there an alternative solution to cover your risk?
I believe that you might have heard the using of ethanol mixing.
Yeah.
So 20% ethanol mixing has already been taken care by the government. Now government is pushing for increasing the blending allocation.
Right.
So if that happens, we have good enough stock of ethanol for driving or the transportation entire facility across India. So
But it's just not about, crude, right? There are a lot of other things that we get from Middle East, right? Like LPG or,
Correct.
LNG, urea, ammonia, right? A lot of those materials is what you get from there, right? They are also at stake, and somewhere or the other, in the entire supply chain, they play a crucial role. So, so do you think that, that would still have...
see, I would say that the current government of India is basically very very proactive in taking the decisions. Like as you rightly mentioned that LPG is at a stake, but then the consumption of PNG has gone up significantly. So we have alternates available. So I think as an Indian, we are not we don't need to create a panic in this situation. Rather, we need to focus on what kind of decisions we take, so that we can ensure the supply chain will not be impacted for the longer run.
Since you have spent a lot of time in logistics and you are an expert in logistics, right? So that's what I wanted to ask. Is there an alternative available for insurance?
As of now, I don't think so. Uh,
So we are literally at the mercy of the insurance company in that scenario.
it is not about that we are at the mercy of A, because insurance company also needs the business.
Of course.
And if we stop doing business with them, they will not be able to survive. So it is again a win-win situation for both the parties. So I am not agreeing with this statement that we are on the mercy of the insurance company. It may be other way around as well,
Okay.
right? So yeah, but I think we cannot eliminate insurance part from the logistics and supply chain management as of now. As of now, I don't foresee that we could be able to eliminate this particular thing.
Okay. Now, beyond fuel, like I just said, that we are seeing 140% spike in Asian LNG spot prices, and massive disruptions in aluminium, chemical feedstocks, right? So, how can Indian manufacturers insulate themselves from these cascading effects?
Alternate options you have to be ready with for every commodity, every kind of material. You should have always a plan B or plan C ready in case if any commodity goes up.
But then the prices increases if I source it from some other location.
You have to look for other alternate items. So I'll give you a very good example during my career journey. I'll not take the name of the company. They were into the manufacturing of some product. One raw material has gone, very haywire. The pricing has gone haywire, right from 70 rupees per kg, it went up to some 395 rupees per kg. Just imagine the kind of implication on the P&L. That point in time, the R&D department, has come out with a plan that let us, replace this item with other item and increase the percentage of item B, and then let us do the production for next 3 months, and then we'll review the situation and we'll come back to the previous original bill of material. And so all I'm saying is, irrespective of the price escalations are there, we should always have the risk mitigation plan in place.
So this is interesting that even R&D plays a good role.
Very good.
When it comes to assessing risk or covering it up.
Very true. So the stakeholder management, whether it is internal stakeholders or the external stakeholders, both are playing an equal role. The R&D, packaging development, marketing, sales, production, engineering, all these functions, they are working together for one objective for the organization. They might be having rift a bit while executing their roles and responsibilities, but at the end of the day, they all are working for one objective.
Nice. Now, I've seen ESG being implemented in Europe and US or America's market very aggressively and very strictly. But when I see Asia, right, especially India, I do not see that kind of seriousness here. Is my assumption or is my observation correct?
I see this question in different lens, from different lens, to be very honest with you. And I have heard one of the public meeting address given by our external affair minister. He categorically said that if the West problem is there, it is the global problem.
Yeah.
When it is India's problem, no, I mean the Asian countries' problem,
Yeah.
it is
Not
none
their
of the
problem.
business.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what is happening in case of carbon emission as well. If you talk about the ESG, the kind of various initiatives which are taken for ESG as well. Please tell me the kind of production which are happening in Asian countries or other part of the world, as compared to the European countries or in the US. The difference will be very, very significant. And if you see the benchmark, they have kept almost equal for both the sides of the world. So that is somewhere I think it is not fair for any kind of global scenarios. So if you look at in the current scenario of Indian manufacturing houses also, they are focusing they are equally focusing on the ESG initiatives, and they are focusing on the recycle, reuse and reduce, all these three principles. And this is basically helping them, number one, which is having direct impact on the environment. It also has a significant impact on increasing the efficiency, and which in turn translates into the increasing the profits as well. So that is how it works.
But okay, my point is that when I go to Europe, right, and I speak with companies there, they are talking about 3 to 4 level down the supply chain. For example, if I have outsourced something to you, right, and you have outsourced it to somebody else, right, and they have outsourced it to the fourth person or the fourth company, right? So they are talking about all 4 of them, right? That's the level at which European companies are demanding or are working on the ESG. Whereas in India, if I talk about, we are only talking about, okay, I have taken care of my electricity and, those energy consumptions, but I don't know about my vendor. That's the difference that I see.
I don't agree with you. The kind of organizations I worked with, I personally have visited many vendors for doing the vendor audits as well during my tenure. And we are taking care of all these things, all the good manufacturing practices, the ESG part, everything, the compliance part. All these things have well taken care of. So it is not that only I am doing it as an organization, but what my vendor is doing, I am not aware of. No, it is not. I would like to mention one certification name, if you can recall, that halal certification was there.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
In halal certification, it is not that only what processes I am adopting, what material I am using, it is not. What is the source of the material, whether it is halal compliant or not. So that is also taken care by us. So how we will come to know this? Only by doing the audit, either by the company owned representative or by the third party. So that is how we are ensuring that it is not that ESG is getting followed by us only, it is getting followed by the others as well, who are other stakeholders, especially the external stakeholders.
Okay. Your philosophy is that tech follows the rules, but humans break them within emergency justifies it, right? So can you share an example where pulling favors through a personal network outperformed an automated sourcing system?
I have given you one example of reducing the lead time. That is one great example. If I have to follow through the systems, every supply will come either in 21 days or 45 days or in 60 days only. It is the human interventions and the supplier relationship management which helps us to bring down my lead time from X number to X minus 10 days. So that is where the human interventions are very important, and especially and also in the decision making as well. Everywhere.
All right.
You cannot, I mean, I personally believe that any technology, any kind of technology cannot replace the humans.
And especially AI, you're
A-
saying.
yeah, AI, definitely.
Okay.
See, my thought process is as long as we believe that any technology is a slave,
Mm-hmm.
then it is good. The moment we start believing that it becomes a master, then probably we are going to lose the battle.
But I think that, in general, humans are, humans are very lethargic, or we want to give away our most of our work, right? So I think that's what is going to happen with AI eventually.
I think humans are very smart, rather,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
So they only give away those jobs
Mm.
to that extent where their jobs are secured.
Okay.
They they prefer not to give those assignments or tasks, or to machines or some, where their jobs will come at stake.
If zero touch automation handles 90% of the transactions, right? Does this finally allow procurement teams to stop being order takers and start being strategic advisors?
That transition has already happened.
Okay.
Now, if you look at any procurement personnel from any level, whether it is a junior level, middle level management, or senior level management, they are not working as order takers. Everyone is contributing in strategic buying, strategic purchase, procurement decisions. Their level of contribution the degree of contribution might differ from each level, but uh, I mean, we are not living in that era where we are only, revolving around for taking the orders and, executing those orders.
Okay. Now, in the procurement and spend management software space, the market has historically been dominated by, SAP Ariba or Coupa and GEP, right? But now there are many new age software solutions like Zycus and Procol, which are coming up, right? Which are, of course, more agile, better tech, faster deployment, and far, far less expensive, right? Do you think that in the future, more and more companies will switch to these solutions from traditional softwares?
They might, because a lot of options are available. I'll give you one example. In my last organization where I was working, so basically I was heading the supply chain function along with the IT and ERP. So I have been given the responsibility to assess the various ERP packages. Uh, we have done it with three. We have shortlisted the three, and then we have gone through with the entire exercise of. So what we did is that listed down all the transactions to be done, what kind of reports we are looking at, and how we need to transform our ways of working based on the new ERP which we are going to build in.
Mm-hmm.
And we have made the matrix of around 140 odd line items,
Okay.
all functions together.
Mm.
And the most function the most transactions or the reports which was given, it was given by one particular ERP. Now that decision has to be taken by the business owner,
Mm-hmm.
whether they want to go with the option 1, option 2, or option 3, because only that solutions which are giving the maximum option probably might not be fitting into your budget.
Mm-hmm.
So any business houses has to see the entire picture holistically, not only about what features are available in the particular ERP, that also how much it is getting fitted into your needs.
Mm-hmm.
And probably it might also happens that when you grow in the your organization grows, so probably up to 50 crores you might require a different set of
Sure.
ERP. When you are migrating from 50 to 250 crore, you need a different set of ERP. You are migrating from 250 to another jump of say 500 or 1000, you will require another kind of set of ERP. So that, and for every ERP packages you will get the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very very positive that all these companies which are coming in, they have their own market shares, they have the buyers to buy their services and implement those ERP packages and solutions.
So, do you think that this is an alarm bell for SAP and Coupa?
uh, could be, yes,
Mm-hmm.
provided if they stop working on their R&D. If
Mm-hmm.
they keep focusing on their R&D, keep developing new features, coming up with kind of solutions, then their survival will be there, their place will be intact.
Mm-hmm.
Because understand one thing, that the other companies who are starting, they will take years to reach to their levels. And if they will migrate from X to X plus 7 or 2 level of 3 level, again the difference will again be maintained. So I mean, all the companies of all category, they have to keep working on their R&D, but I'm sure the leaders also have to focus on their R&D. And we have some good examples of some companies, those who have not focused on their R&D and they collapse. One time they were a market leaders, they have a good share of business, but later on you are not finding their products anymore. So that is how it works.
Now, with the advent of AI, right? People are talking that coding or development of the software is becoming very easy, right? I was last week sitting with a friend of mine who developed a software, right, which ideally would have taken him, at least 10 to 12 months with a team of probably 10 to 15 developers, right? But he was able to develop that entire software in 1.5 months time period, that with just one resource. Now, what did that do? Basically, it reduced the cost of development, time, right, manpower required, right, and it immediately gave me an edge to launch in the market, right. Now, traditionally, if I look at the software companies, right, pure play software companies, their advantage was that if let's take an example, SAP or Coupa has been developed, if you have to develop something similar, it would take years for you to develop it, right? Plus a lot of manpower, it will be very expensive, and that is the reason why companies would not easily enter that space. But that advantage is no more, with the help of AI, right, wherein the coding is being done on its own and it's so fast, it saves so much time, it saves so much money. I think that the software business, especially wherein they're charging millions, right, for a software subscription, right, that is going to get a very challenging time in the future because people are going to come up with cheaper solutions, right?
True.
So then it will become very difficult for them to justify the subscription cost of millions of dollars that they're normally charging.
So before answering to your question, as you were mentioning that this guy has took around 10-12 months, that work he has done it in 1 month's time, one and a half months time with
yeah.
one resource only.
Yeah.
Uh, it is all about the skill set he developed, right? I'll take you a bit, I'll deviate you from the discussion. I hope that you remember then when India was played their first one day international. I think somewhere in mid 70s.
Okay.
Mr. Gavaskar, the leading batsman, scored 60 runs in 50 runs in 60 overs. From that era, now we have moved to Vaibhav Suryavanshi's era where he hits 50 runs in 15 balls.
Yeah.
A lot of has got transitioned from mid 70s to mid 30s,
Yeah.
mid 20s rather. Similarly on technology side as well, it keeps evolving. And as I said previously also, that any organization who are working on R&D is basically getting translated into developing the skill set. And if any organization is focusing on this area, they will be able to manage any kind of transitions, changes, and everything. Now, coming to the basic questions, as I said before, that the established players, I don't want to take the names, but I'm sure you are aware of, they are also equally very focused on their R&D in building the skill set, building the talent, building the capabilities within their organizations. And that is why they will always be having the upper hand. Only thing is that people who are starting new in this area, they have to do extra effort to reach to their level. And those extra effort could be from either side. Either it could be, a great talent they have to hire, they have to invest money, they have to look for small wins to reach to the bigger goal. So all these things, cumulative effect will be, then only they will be able to compete with them. Otherwise, they have their own market share and they will enjoying their share of business in the market.
But don't you think so? That think about it. That if this guy, let's say he develops something similar to Coupa or SAP, right, and he puts it out on the internet for free, it has hardly taken him any money, right? It has hardly costed him anything to develop it compared to what it would have actually costed to Coupa or SAP, right? And he puts it out on free. So what happens to you know
You will find very rare such kind of people who will be doing such kind of developments. They are sharing it with the large population of the audience free of cost. You will find very rare people. I don't think that it is going to happen for sure. If at all it happens, then these companies have to find the ways from how they can migrate from their level X to level X plus Y. So they have to find their ways. So since I'm not working for them, I will not be able to guide them on this.
Okay, right. So you stated that a computer cannot judge a vendor's willingness to be flexible in crisis. Is there a way to score those soft skills, or will they always remain 100% human-led art form?
See, as a procurement manager, whenever we do the vendor evaluation, vendor performance, performance evaluation. So we have a different metrics are available. Few are number driven, where any ERP, any AI can support us. But there are various other things where it depends. So for example, if I talk about how much cooperative vendor is in supporting your innovation, you cannot, find the numbers. Your personal intervention is required. Similarly, if you talk about how much how he is able to respond to your queries, how quickly he is turning around, it is not getting captured in any system. It comes by the experience only. If I am, say for example, if I am in facing the challenge or a struggle, or my any material is at risk, and the vendor is coming out from their comfort zone and supporting us, it is not going to get captured in any of the systems, be it ERP or AI or some things. That is where when the human interventions, the relationship management plays a very important role, and that also getting captured in your vendor performance evaluation. So it has equal importance.
Okay. Now, you've moved from being a purchase supervisor to a professor of practice or head of institute now, right? Now, mentoring over 2,000 professionals. What is the most critical lesson from the PepsiCo or GSK boardroom that you now instill in your students?
Before coming to my students, I'll give you the example of my son, first of all. So he did BTech from SRM University, and after that, he got the opportunity to work with one organization, leading organization. He worked with Alpila Packaging in their operation shop floor. I told him very categorically that you are going to work, don't bring that thought in your mind that you are an engineer. You are going to work at the shop floor where operators will be there, where junior engineers will be there. So people coming who have done the ITI, who have done the diploma, and you are the degree holder. All three of you will be performing the same task. And never ever think that the remaining two guys are inferior to you, because they are the real teachers who are teaching you, right? And from there he got he worked there for about 13-14 months, and then he did diploma, and then now he better placed now. The same learning I keep sharing with my student as well. Very important is that nowadays students have become a customer. So during my era, we were a student. Even if my sir has said anything, it becomes a Brahmalakir for us. But nowadays they are demanding. They have become more a kind of customer. And because of this excess of technology and all, they have all informations available. Only thing that we need to channelize those information and energy in the right direction. So that is where our role is, where we play an important role. But having said that, we are focusing them to, and I keep telling to my students that you have to start working from the ground level. Unless you will not learn how the work is getting performed at the very initial stage, you will not be able to deliver your KPIs at the later stage of your career, because uh, the people management, their issues, the kind of the work environment in which they perform their duties and tasks, you should have to live during those period, I mean those time, and then only you will be able to you will become a successful professional by taking the right decisions when you grow in the ladder. So that is how I keep saying to them.
Especially, I've seen this in case of business owners. That whenever the next generation comes in, right? If the next generation is immediately put on to the management role or leading the business instead of they starting from the ground level, they face a lot of challenges. But especially those ones who start from the ground level, from the base of the factory, and start working with the start learning from the workers at the ground level, I think they shape out to be much better professionals when they start actually managing the business.
Very true. I agree with you. I'm complete in agreement. The more time you spend on the shop floor, you will come to know the real issues which are actually happening at the shop floor.
All right. And you'll be
Decisions
able
can't
to
be,
understand the people also very
yeah,
well.
very much. So there are, I mean, the people process.
Right.
These two things are very very critical for any success of anybody's career or for any organization. The people is equally important. The process is equally important.
All right.
And you can set the process right only when you are able to understand your people.
Right.
If you don't have the ability to understand your people, then probably you will not be able to set the process, and you have to work making a right alignment between these two verticals.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So, what is one humanly skill that the procurement leader of 2030 must master to stay ahead of the curve?
See, by the time we are reaching to 2030, trust me that we will be supported by a lot of technologies. Currently we are in the era of AI. Probably will further go ahead. So as far as the data point is concerned, you will be having in abundance. Lot of ways are there, but one thing which is very much required is the decision ownership, which will not be there in any kind of technology. That ownership will come from the humans only, the people who are working. The people are accountable for their deliverables, and that is something which is not going to be changed.
So, you're saying decision making.
Decision making, yeah.
Decision making is one such skill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, Sudhanshu, thank you so much for your time today. It was absolutely an amazing conversation, and I learned a lot today. So thank you so much, and I hope our audience, they also get to learn something today. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, and it's pleasure me having here on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.